I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or to sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, a lot of people go off of those automated valuations that they see on Zillow to determine what their home is worth, but how does a home seller decide what price to set when they're selling their home? Is Zillow very accurate?
Oh, it's interesting about the whole Zillow phenomenon. I don't know that people know that Zillow is just a tech company, that their initial mission was to take over the real estate world, and they were going to change the real estate world where it was all going to have to be sold online. And could you imagine that, Richard, where you just go online and buy a house? I
don't see. I mean, I think that's a little bit far-fetched. I can't imagine not having somebody like you to help transition through all of this and point out, with all of your experience, the issues, the flaws, the little, minefields that you have to look out for.
I have a client right now that bought a house solely based on the online pictures and 100% relying on their quote real estate agent. And it was bad. When they got to the house, after they closed on it, they found so many significant defects. Like they weren't told that, they were told the property on 40 acres had a well. It does not. That's kind of a huge omission.
That is huge.
And probably unlawful.
Yeah.
And there were other issues too. So I don't think I would do that. Not for something as important as real estate. It's one thing to buy a stock and you can order that kind of thing and get all kinds of research done online. But most people understand that pictures sometimes are very deceiving, right? They'll say, oh, wow, it looks so much better on pictures than it does in person. That happens all the time. So all Zillow does is they grab the pictures that are put up in the local listing services all across the country, and they post it online in a nice format that the consumers like, and they pretend to be a buyer, that they're going to buy your house. Now, they were buying houses back 2 years ago. In fact, they bought one of my listings out from under me when it was in the MLS, all kinds of license law violation, but I'm not a billionaire, so I couldn't sue $1 billion company. But I'm just saying that they were buying homes for a while, and the basis for their offers were their Zillow's estimate, or what they called their algorithm, their computerized super secret program that decided what a home is actually worth. They lost over $1 billion overpaying for homes. Let me give you an example. I had an opportunity to compete for a listing up here in the northern part of Colorado Springs. And when I met with the seller, he told me that one of these iBuyer companies had offered him $750,000. Now they charge a fee just like a commission. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, yeah, you should take that. So they did. They went ahead and took that offer, and they sold their house to this iBuying company. And a year later, that iBuying company resold that home for $100,000 loss. So that was going on all across the board. There were 2 years during the boom when these iBuyers were really forking out and buying homes, sometimes way over market value, because they had this Pollyanna view that the values are going to continue to go up and they can make a profit. I don't know. But still to this day, Zillow puts on their website that, hey, if you want to offer, click here. Now, Zillow's not going to make an offer. It's probably going to be Open Door, right? And Open Door is relying on their online guesstimate of what the home is worth. So I think that what they're doing basically is just trying to make money. The other thing that they do is they sell buyer leads to real estate agents. They sell the leads of other people's listings. So if I were to list a home, and if I were to give Zillow my money for marketing, if somebody raised their hand and said, hey, I'd like to see that home, the buyer thinks that they're getting a hold of the listing agent. But in fact, they're selling that lead to a half dozen random real estate agents that buy leads in that zip code. So then the buyer's phone blows up with all these agents going, I'll show it, I'll show it, I'll show it, you know, and the agent doesn't know anything about the house. They're just hoping when they show up that this buyer has the ability to perform and wants a house like that. They have no idea.
Unbelievable, Barb. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so you really have to price a home right. You need to get a professional that knows what they're doing. And so on Zillow, what I'm seeing, I just looked at one yesterday where their guesstimate was probably pretty close to 10% higher than what I thought the home would actually sell for. And even the seller agreed with me when we went over all similar sales and what was available. The pricing that I came up with in my mind was the same as what she thought, based on what these other homes look like, based on what the current competition is. That is how you decide on pricing. It's not based on an average in some computer program that hasn't seen your house, that probably doesn't have the square footage right, probably doesn't know if you have views or not, doesn't know if you've updated or not. All those factors play into pricing a home right. So if you price a home too high, fewer buyers are going to want to go see it and you'll get no offers. And actually, according to the National Association of Realtors, sellers that price their home too high and slowly walk the price down actually net less money in the end. You're better off being priced at or slightly below market value to get the most money. I know that sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it, Richard?
It is, and we've talked about this before. It seems counterintuitive, and yet your results prove it over and over and over again that the slow walk down just doesn't work.
Yeah, so they could be off by as much as $100,000. Let me give you an example. This was a home that I sold last winter, and it wasn't updated. It was actually, it had mauve pink carpet because that was in style back in the 80s. The kitchen wasn't updated, big house on a lot of land. And so they asked me, what do we do with this home? I said, okay, neutralize the carpet. I don't think you're going to get the money out of remodeling the kitchen, and price it realistically. So that's exactly what we did. We got 6 offers after the first weekend, and the home sold for $75,000 over asking price. So it's absolute critical thing. And, you know, sometimes Zillow, I look at Zillow all the time to see what their quote Zestimate is. The only reason I look at that is to get an idea what the seller has in their mind, because many of these home sellers will go to Zillow and go, oh, Zillow says my house is worth X. So that's what they have in their mind. And it's up to me to really show them the true market about what's going on. What is a similar sale? What homes are selling and what amenities that they have that are selling, as well as what their current competition is. Now, I know 2 years ago during the crazy boom, a lot of people were getting bidding wars. I think up in the Denver area, if you didn't have 100,000 over asking price, you probably weren't doing something right. But that since ceased when the Fed started raising interest rates. I'm still getting bidding wars. So I'm still getting bidding wars on many of my homes, especially the sellers that decide to price it right. And then there are others that are not getting bidding wars. Sometimes I'm surprised, sometimes not. So the one that I told you about earlier, basically they remodeled the kitchen, but they went too high in the price point. So it slowed down the sale. Had we priced it on the low side, basically, we probably would have gotten more and it would have sold faster. Here's another one where we priced it slightly low for issues. Even though it had a beautiful lot, it backed to open space with views, it wasn't perfect. Like it was a 4-level. So on the upper level, it used to have a deck that came off the back on one of the bedrooms and a sliding door. So that deck was pulled down. It was just boarded up. So it had a few little minor issues, nothing major, but it was enough where if you priced it high, the buyers would come in and turn their nose up at it and go, oh, you know, it needs this or it needs that. So they made the right decision by pricing it slightly low. At the time, I thought similar sales would probably maybe bring about 430 to 450. The seller decided to price it at $399. We had 153 people at the 2-hour open house, and it sold for $75,000 over asking price. And that was the only showing time. Wouldn't that be fun to just show your house for 2 hours and you're done?
That would be nice. Is it realistic?
Not for everybody. It just
Yeah.
depends on the home and the price and all that. Pricing it realistically, though, does definitely get the best result. This was a home seller that actually I thought it should be priced at $675, and he goes, "No, Barb, I listened to your show. I want to price it at $650." I'm like, okay. So we had, I think that one we had 87 people attend the open house, multiple offers, and it sold for $700,000. So it was really cool to get $50,000 over asking price. Here's another one that actually the similar sales range between $645,000 and $700,000. So it had moderate improvements. The kitchen was updated, but other than that, there were some parts of it that were a little bit dated, but it did have a nice deck and a back to open space. So we priced that one just under $650,000. This was just a few weeks ago. And we had 40 people at the open house, and it sold for $50,000 over asking price. So those are the best result, because you don't have to waste a lot of time dealing with showing after showing after showing and deal with people complaining about, well, it doesn't have this, or they found something better, etc. That's the best way to sell the home and make the process quick, easy, and you get the most money at the same time. And that's why I always find pricing your home realistically versus optimistically is the best way to do it. So we sit down with our clients, we evaluate similar sales, what's available on the market, the current competition, to help them make the right decision. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And shortly we're going to talk about how you get it priced so you get it sold within the first 30 days. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's the host, Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach her at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, I know you and your team are home valuation experts and can help home sellers with establishing that fair price. But what are the things that make a home more valuable so sellers can get more money when they do sell?
Well, things that add value, first of all, are number one, location. So when you're buying a home, think about the location. Pricing it right adds value to your home, and condition adds value to the home. And pricing is a form of marketing. So when you price it right, it will start the negotiations. You don't have to accept your asking price. But if you defer repair issues, things like people ask me all the time, can I give them a credit for my carpet that looks terrible? And the answer is you can. However, you may not get an offer. You're better off spending the money on the carpet, and then they're going to make their best offer. And actually 41% of the buyers will pass a home buy that needs work. So you don't want to be in that condition of not having somebody pass your home by for another option if it's not show ready. And that's part of what we do, is we help our clients figure out what to do and what not to do to get the most money when they sell their home. Plus we go over all the closing costs, let them know how much they'll put in their pocket when it sells. And you could give us a call anytime for that service at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is Your Real Estate Voice, and she's the host of the program, and she is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. It's more than just a name. It's a promise. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. Short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing top 7 reasons to hire Barb. If you're thinking about selling your home, you don't want to miss that.